My best friend always said he would do anything for me. But when I got into trouble, I realized that anything meant taking my life for himself. We met when we were 11. I was the new kid in town, awkward, skinny, with hand-me-down jeans and a backpack too big for my back. He was the kid everyone liked. Smooth, loud, funny. But he didn't treat me like I didn't belong. Not at first. His name was Matt. He cracked a joke about my shoes the first time we met, then defended me 2 periods later when an 8th grader shoved me in the hallway. That's how Matt was, a mix of charm and fists, always knowing when to switch between the two. By the time high school rolled around, we were inseparable. We did everything together. Shared meals, shared homework, shared secrets. And over time, I started to believe I'd found the kind of friendship that movies try to sell you, loyal, forever, bulletproof. I never thought to question it. Not back then. The first red flag was small. You'd miss it if you blinked. It was junior year. I had a thing going with this girl, Emma. Nothing serious, teenage stuff. We texted, made out behind the bleachers, held hands in the movie theater. One night, Matt and I were hanging out with some people at a bonfire. He got drunk, real drunk, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "You know Emma kissed me first, right?" People laughed. I laughed too. I thought he was just being Matt, cocky, drunk, over the line. I asked him about it later. He smirked and said, "Relax. You know I wouldn't do that to you. I was just messing with you." I believed him. After high school, we stayed close. Different colleges, same town. I studied engineering. He bounced between business classes and bar jobs. I had focus. He had charm. I used to help him out with rent. Lent him money more than once. Wrote his resume. Talked him through breakups. And when he didn't have a car for a while, I drove him to interviews, once even skipped a final to do it. He used to say, "Man, if I ever make it, you're coming with me. I owe you my life." I guess I should have asked what he meant by coming with me. It started slowly. Little things. I'd hear someone mention something I told Matt in confidence, private things, and I'd brush it off. Maybe I'd mentioned it drunk. Maybe I forgot. Maybe they guessed. That's how I explained it away. But then things got weird. He'd retell my stories, as if they were his. Childhood memories, awkward moments, even lines I'd said. He'd tell them at parties, just slightly tweaked. And people laughed, cheered, told him he was hilarious. It felt like watching a movie of your own life with someone else playing your role. I confronted him once, casually. "You told my story like it was yours." He looked me dead in the eye and said, "You're too serious, man. No one remembers where they heard what. Don't be weird about it." I let it go. Again. Work was where the real damage started. We landed jobs at the same tech firm, different teams, same building. I helped him get the interview. Coached him through it. Told the hiring manager we'd make a great team. I had no idea what I was setting in motion. At first, it was good. He made friends quickly. Started charming people, the way he always did. But then people started looking at me differently. Like I was the weak link. The moody one. The one who couldn't take a joke. I found out later that Matt had been telling people I had mental health issues. Said I was unstable. Said I'd freak out if criticized, that I'd stolen his ideas. That he was being a good friend by covering for me. The worst part? He said it all with a grin. Joking, of course. Just harmless, right? People believed him. I got passed up for a promotion. He got it instead. Even my girlfriend started pulling away. Claire. We'd been together a year by then. Solid, stable, real. Or so I thought. She and Matt got close fast. Too fast. At first, I didn't think anything of it. Matt had always been good with people. But then she started quoting him. Laughing at his jokes, the same ones I used to make. Once, we were arguing about something and she said, "Matt says you can be kind of intense sometimes. Maybe you should think about that." That cut deeper than I expected. When I asked Matt about it, he looked offended. "What, I can't be friends with her? You're getting paranoid, man." Paranoid. That word stayed with me. Like I was losing my grip on reality. But I wasn't. Not yet. I started paying attention. Watching how people acted around me. The way they paused when I entered a room. The way Matt would say things like, "Oh man, don't be mad at me." Just telling the truth, like he was protecting me from some secret everyone else already knew. One night, I came home to find Claire gone. Her stuff, her toothbrush, her drawer, empty. No note. No warning. Just a text, an hour later, "I need space. I'm staying with friends. Please don't make this harder." I didn't have to ask where she was. I knew. And I was right. Matt never admitted it. Not directly. But a week later, he posted a picture on Instagram, a blurry shot at a bar. Her bracelet in the corner of the frame. His smirk. The caption, "Better days." My phone blew up. Texts. DMs, half apologies from mutual friends. I didn't respond to any of them. I sat in the dark that night and stared at the ceiling. Thinking back. All the times I stood by him. All the chances I gave him. All the things I shared, thinking he was my brother. He wasn't trying to hurt me. He was trying to replace me. Piece by piece. You ever watch someone take your life, piece by piece, like they're just cleaning out a garage? That's what it felt like with Matt. Claire was the final straw. But the foundation had been rotting for years. I just didn't see it because I didn't want to. Or maybe I did see it, maybe I just thought friendship was about looking the other way sometimes. About loyalty. Turns out, loyalty makes you a perfect victim if you don't know when to stop. A week after Claire left, I stopped showing up to the break room at work. Stopped talking during meetings. Stopped trying. Matt was glowing. Laughing, chatting, clapping people on the back like a politician on a campaign trail. My campaign trail. My friends. My team. My work. He started volunteering for the stuff I used to do. Offered to take over a project I'd built from scratch. Called it too technical for me, said I'd been stressed, that he was just helping out. He used the same phrases I used to use. Same style of email. Same way of presenting. And it worked. People didn't see it. Or they didn't care. The same manager who used to ask for my advice now called Matt a rising star. I wasn't just being erased. I was being rewritten. I tried talking to him one last time. We were alone in the parking garage after work. He was unlocking his car. I stood behind him, hands in my pockets. "What are you doing?" I asked. He didn't even turn around. Just said, "What do you mean?" I stepped closer. "You're trying to become me." That made him laugh. Not loud, just a quiet chuckle, like I'd said something childish. He finally turned, leaned against his car. Smiled. "Come on, man. No one wants to be you." That stuck with me. Not because it was cruel. But because he meant it. After that, I pulled back from everyone. Stopped going out. Stopped replying to messages. People noticed. Some reached out. Most didn't. Matt filled the vacuum like water rushing into a sinking boat. I watched from the outside as he slid into my life like it was always meant to be his. Took my place at work. With our friends. At our old bar. Even started playing guitar. Mine had gathered dust for years, and suddenly he was posting videos of himself covering the songs I used to play. Claire liked every post. Funny thing is, I don't think she ever realized she wasn't falling for him. She was falling for me, reflected back through someone shinier. I remember this one night, about a month after Claire left. I was walking home, late, cold, half-drunk. Passed by a bar we used to go to. Heard a familiar laugh. I looked through the window. Matt was there. Same booth we used to sit in. Claire beside him, her head tilted, laughing. My old coworker Jim. A couple others. All of them smiling, talking, like I never existed. Matt was holding court. Telling a story. I couldn't hear it, but I knew the rhythm, the beats, the gestures, the pause he always took before the punchline. Because it was my story. A trip we took after college. The one where we got lost for hours because I trusted GPS more than common sense. I knew how it ended. I knew the joke. I just didn't know how it felt to have someone else tell it, better, smoother, like they'd lived it. I turned and walked away before he got to the end. That night I didn't sleep. Not because of anger. Because of clarity. All the small things came together. All the whispers. The smiles. The doubts. Matt wasn't just trying to one-up me. He'd always wanted to be me. And somewhere along the way, he'd realized he couldn't do it honestly, so he started stealing instead. A little at a time. Confidence. Reputation. My place at work. My circle. My girl. I wasn't paranoid. I'd just been slow to wake up. You'd think that kind of realization would fire you up. That it would make you want revenge. Or justice. Or some big, dramatic showdown. But it didn't. It made me tired. I didn't want to fight him. I didn't want to reclaim anything. I just wanted to know why. So I called him. He picked up on the second ring, like he'd been expecting it. Yo. I didn't waste time. Why me? He was quiet for a moment. Then. You always had it so easy, man. That caught me off guard. Easy? People liked you. Teachers liked you. You got good grades, good jobs. You didn't even try half the time. And you still ended up ahead. He sighed. I was always just your sidekick. I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it was pathetic. You're not my sidekick, Matt. You were my best friend. Silence. Then he said something I'll never forget. That's what made it worse. I didn't call him again after that. After he said those words, that's what made it worse. It stuck with me, like a sliver under the skin. That was the moment I knew there was no coming back. No apology. No forgiveness. Not because I hated him. But because I understood him. And understanding someone like Matt, someone who smiles while pulling the rug out from under you, doesn't bring peace. It brings a quiet kind of fear. Because it means he knew exactly what he was doing. Every step. You start to rewind everything after something like that. Look for signs. You remember the things you brushed off. The jokes that felt off. The secrets that slipped. The nights when you told yourself, he didn't mean it like that. But he did. I remembered something small, something stupid, middle school. We were 12. There was this essay contest, My Future Self. I wrote about being an engineer. He wrote about being a rock star. He won. Not because his was better. But because he copied half of mine and made it rhyme. Everyone laughed. Teachers clapped. I didn't say anything. He looked at me afterward and said, "Hey, I made it cooler." I laughed. He clapped me on the back. That was Matt. Taking your words, dressing them up, calling them his. And me, too dumb or too loyal to care. I went quiet for a while. Stopped showing up to gatherings. Deleted social media. Moved to a smaller apartment. I didn't disappear. I just faded. On purpose. And Matt filled the space like smoke in a room with no windows. Every now and then I'd hear about him, from a mutual friend, or an office email thread. He got promoted. He threw a party. He started dating someone new. Sometimes I'd recognize the name. Sometimes it was someone I once introduced him to. And every time, the same thought came back: he's still at it. Still borrowing. Still becoming. Still wearing other people like suits. It wasn't about me anymore. He just moved on to the next version of himself. There's something strange that happens when someone steals your life. You start questioning if it was ever yours in the first place. You wonder, was I ever really that charming? Was I ever really that trusted? Did people like me, or did they just tolerate me until someone louder came along? That's the part no one tells you about, the self-doubt. The paranoia that creeps in after the betrayal. Not just about them. About you. You stop trusting your own memories. Your own judgment. You start asking questions like, was he always like this? Or was I just easy to copy? I thought about revenge. A lot. Thought about exposing him, forwarding emails, digging up old chat logs, screenshots. Thought about dropping anonymous tips at work. Hell, thought about walking into a party and telling everyone who he really was. But then what? They'd look at me like I was bitter. Jealous. Unhinged. Because Matt was smart. He never left marks. Never said anything too cruel, never pushed too far. Just enough to tilt the balance. Just enough to make you doubt yourself. You don't burn someone like that in a blaze. You wait for them to light their own match. Then, one night, I saw him again. By accident. I was out late, buying groceries I didn't need, just to get out of the apartment. Walked into the 24-hour market on 5th. He was at the counter. Same grin. Same leather jacket I left at his place years ago and never got back. He didn't see me. But the cashier did. She said, "You just missed your twin." And I smiled, because that's what he wanted. Not to destroy me. To become me. And he had, didn't he? To everyone else, he was the better version. Polished, louder, more likable. Except for one thing. He didn't have to live with the mirror. The mirror tells the truth, even when no one else does. Matt could wear my stories, my clothes, my words. But he couldn't wear my regrets. He didn't have the memories. The late nights. The guilt. The decisions. He had the performance. I had the scars. And that's when it hit me, I didn't want my old life back. Not the job. Not the girl. Not the friends who couldn't tell the difference. Let him keep it. Let him play the role until it rotted him from the inside. I was done chasing ghosts. You know the worst part of losing your identity? It's not the isolation. Not the confusion. Not even the betrayal. It's the silence. The long stretch of days where no one checks in. No one asks where you've gone. They just accept your absence like background noise fading out. That's what Matt taught me. People don't really notice when you disappear, not if someone else slides in and keeps the music playing. But eventually, the silence started to itch. So I broke it. I started small. Not with Matt. With myself. I changed gyms. Picked a place across town where no one knew my name. I stopped drinking. Cooked my own meals. Went for walks instead of doom-scrolling through old memories. I made a rule: if it reminded me of him, it went. Clothes, books, playlists. Gone. Then I found a therapist. Took me 4 tries to find one who didn't smile too much or ask me about my inner child. But the 4th one, she didn't flinch when I told her the story. She just said, "So he didn't just betray you. He replaced you." I nodded. "And you let him?" That one hurt. Because it was true. The thing about Matt, he never took anything by force. He waited. Waited for me to step back. To doubt myself. To leave a crack in the door. Then he'd smile, walk in, and act like he'd always been there. That's what I had to come to terms with. I let it happen. Piece by piece. Because I didn't want to be the guy who caused a scene. The guy who made things awkward. Well, awkward was better than erased. So I decided, no more cracks. No more doors left open. The first real move I made was at work. I'd been drifting, remote status, muted in meetings, forgotten. But one day, I joined early. Camera on. Notes open. When Matt logged in, he looked surprised. "Hey, stranger." I smiled. "Good to be back." He watched me the whole meeting. Trying to read something. Maybe confusion. Maybe threat. I didn't give him anything. But after the meeting, my inbox pinged. "Hey man, good to see you in the mix again. You good?" I stared at the message. Typed. Deleted. Typed again. Better than ever. Sent. Next, I reached out to Claire. Not to win her back. That part was long dead. I just wanted closure. She agreed to meet. Neutral place. Public. Midday. She looked good. Lighter. Her smile didn't carry the same weight it used to when we were together, like she wasn't trying to fix anything anymore. We made small talk. Then I asked her, straight out. Was it always about him? She hesitated. At first, no. But I think I was drawn to the version of him that felt familiar. He reminded me of you, just more open. I nodded. He was wearing my skin. She looked down. Didn't argue. Then she said something I didn't expect. You were good to me. I just didn't see it until too late. I didn't feel vindicated. Or angry. Just tired. After that, I made peace with the past. Not in some dramatic, tear-filled moment. I just woke up one morning, made coffee, and realized I didn't hate him anymore. But I didn't forgive him either. Because Matt wasn't a mistake. He was a lesson. A hard one. About boundaries. About silence. About what happens when you hand someone the keys to your life and assume they'll leave the door locked. But I wasn't done with him yet. See, Matt had moved on to new prey. A new friend group. New job. Same pattern. I started hearing things. From a former coworker. From a girl he dated for a month and ghosted. From someone who once called him the most authentic guy they knew, and then caught him lying through his teeth. His world was fraying. People were starting to compare notes. They'd say things like, "That's weird, he told me it was his idea," or, "He said he grew up poor, but I met his dad, guy owns a dealership." The mask was slipping. And he knew it. So I reached out. One message. We should talk. We met at a park. Not a bar. Not a cafe. Neutral ground. Somewhere open, somewhere quiet. I picked the place, one of those city parks where time seems to slow down. Benches spaced far apart. Trees whispering things only old men usually hear. He was already there when I arrived. Same posture. Same smirk. Like nothing had changed. He even stood up when he saw me, arms open, like we were still friends. "Hey man. Been a while." I didn't shake his hand. Just nodded and sat down. He didn't seem offended. He never does. People like Matt don't need you to like them. They just need you to keep watching. We sat in silence for a minute. Just birds and wind. Then I said. "You always knew, didn't you?" He tilted his head. "Knew what?" "That you weren't like me." He smiled. That was the point. He looked older. Not tired, just more brittle around the edges. Like someone who's worn too many masks and forgotten which one was real. You remember freshman year? I said. You crashed my birthday party because your girlfriend broke up with you. I spent the whole night trying to cheer you up, and you left without even saying thanks. He chuckled. Jesus, man. That was like 15 years ago. Yeah. And you've been doing it ever since. He leaned back on the bench, stretching his arms out like he owned the place. I don't know what you want me to say. The truth. He looked at me for a long moment. And for once, he didn't smile. Fine. Yeah, I wanted your life. Not all of it. Just the parts that came easy to you. The way people listened when you talked. The way they respected you without you having to perform for it. He looked down. You walked into a room and people looked at you like you belonged. I had to earn it. Every damn time. He met my eyes. You want to know the truth? I envied you. I still do. I nodded. You know what the difference is, Matt? Enlighten me. I never tried to be you. He didn't have a response to that. So I kept going. You stole stories, twisted facts, wore people like masks. You didn't want a life. You wanted a mirror. Something that made you feel real. His jaw tightened. I could see it. The first crack. You ever wonder why it never lasts? I asked. Why the people you connect with always drift away? He looked away. I kept going. Because deep down, they know. You can't fake real. You can only borrow it for a while. He let out a bitter laugh. So what, you want me to apologize? Say sorry and we hug it out? I shook my head. No. I want you to sit with it. All of it. Every version of yourself you built from scraps of someone else's life. I stood up. You can keep the stories. Keep the charm. Keep the spotlight. But you don't get to keep me. He looked up at me, and for the first time in all the years I'd known him, he looked small. Not broken. Not angry. Just lost. As I walked away, he called after me. You think you're better than me? I stopped. Turned halfway. No. Just whole. Then I left. That night, I slept. Not perfectly. Not peacefully. But deeply. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt weight lift off me that I didn't even know I was carrying. Not because I'd won. Because I'd stopped playing. After I walked away from Matt, I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel free. I felt quiet. That's the only way I can describe it. Like a radio finally shut off after playing static for years. The silence wasn't comforting. Not at first. It was uncomfortable, even loud. But it was mine. No more second-hand echoes. No more waiting for the next knife in the back. Just quiet. There's this myth we believe, that once we confront the source of the pain, everything clears up. That the past makes sense. That we walk away healed. It doesn't work like that. Confrontation is just the beginning. It's what comes after that decides who you are. I didn't become a new man overnight. But I started showing up to life again. Applied for a new job, one that didn't have Matt's fingerprints all over it. Moved to a different part of the city. Smaller place, better light. I picked the furniture. Nothing carried over. No hand-me-downs. No ghosts. I started talking to people again. Really talking. I'd sit in cafes and not scroll through my phone. Just watch people, listen, nod when a stranger asked to borrow the chair next to me. Turns out, there's a whole world that keeps spinning after someone tries to take yours. You just have to step into it. I got a dog. Name's Murphy. Some kind of mutt with bad knees and a crooked tail. The shelter said he was hard to adopt. I said same and took him home. Funny thing about dogs, they don't care who you were. Or who you let into your life. They just want the walk, the food, the warmth. And for the first time in a long time, I had something that looked at me like I was enough. Not better than anyone. Not the version of someone else. Just me. One night, maybe a couple months after that last talk with Matt, I found myself back at that old bar. Don't know why. Nostalgia, maybe. Or maybe I just wanted to see if the place still felt haunted. It didn't. Matt wasn't there. Nobody looked twice at me. Nobody asked where I'd been. That used to sting. Now it felt like peace. I sat at the bar. Ordered a beer. And I didn't think about the past. Didn't check to see who was watching. Didn't need to prove anything. I was just there. And that was enough. I still think about him sometimes. I wonder if he ever figured out how to be real. Not just popular. Not just admired. Real. Part of me doubts it. People like Matt don't learn by losing. They just look for a new mirror. But that's not my story anymore. I'm not the reflection. I'm the original. And for the first time in years, I finally like the view. It started with a message. Not from Matt. From someone else. Someone on the edges of that old orbit, a name I recognized but hadn't thought about in years. Hey man. Weird question, did you used to know Matt really well? I stared at it for a long time. Could have ignored it. Could have blocked the number. Could have deleted it and gone back to whatever I was doing, probably walking Murphy or flipping through a book I'd never finish. But I didn't. I replied. Yeah. Why? The typing dots danced for a while. Then came the reply. You ever notice he kind of becomes the people he's around? I laughed. Out loud. Yeah. I noticed. That opened the door. They told me Matt had joined their startup a few months back. Said all the right things. Brought in a few good contacts. Then started playing both sides, saying one thing to the CEO, another to the investors. Started using stories that didn't add up. Claimed experience he didn't have. And worst of all, he was charming as hell. Familiar, right? Then the kicker. He told us he helped launch your last company. That he was the brain behind it. There it was. Matt, still dragging pieces of me behind him like rusted trophies. Still borrowing stories he didn't earn. Still hoping no one checked the receipts. They asked if I'd be willing to talk. Just to help them get a clearer picture. I said I'd think about it. And I did. For 3 days. Walked Murphy longer. Drank more coffee. Stared at the ceiling at 2 a.m. Wondering if I owed it to them, to anyone, to expose him. Or if that part of me was dead and buried. On the 4th day, I said yes. But with rules. We met at a neutral cafe. Not a bar. Not my place. Not theirs. Just a spot with good light, bad muffins, and no memories. They asked questions. I gave facts. No embellishment. No revenge. Just the truth. What he took. How he did it. The signs to watch for. And then I said the thing that made them all go quiet. He doesn't want to ruin you. That's not the goal. He wants to become you. That's worse. I left it at that. No rants. No warnings. No dramatic endings. I stood up, thanked them for the coffee, and left before anyone could ask me to stay. Because I wasn't there to fix anyone's mess. I'd done that before. I'd paid for it. Now I just tell the truth, and walk away. Later that night, I got a message. He's gone. We let him go. Thanks for helping us see it. I didn't reply. I just turned off my phone and went outside with Murphy. Watched him sniff a patch of grass like it was the most important thing in the world. That's the thing about rebuilding yourself, you don't have to shout it from the rooftops. You just live in a way that makes the past irrelevant. It had been 3 years since I'd seen him. Since the last time I said his name out loud. In those years, life had gone quiet, not in the dull way, but in the way that feels like a clean room after a storm. I had a new job. A few close friends. A small life, but mine. Murphy was older now. Slower on the stairs, little white patches on his chin. Still followed me room to room like I might disappear if he blinked. I didn't think about Matt anymore. Didn't mean to forget. Just stopped needing to remember. Until the email. Subject line, "Hey." That was it. No name. Just that one syllable, sitting in my inbox like a loaded gun. I hovered over it for 10 full minutes before I clicked. Inside was one sentence. "If you ever want to know why, I'm ready to talk." No signature. But I knew who it was. Of course I knew. I didn't answer. Not that day. Not the next. I walked around with the question in my pocket like loose change, do I want to know? Would it change anything? Would it matter? Because I already knew why. He told me, years ago, I wanted the parts of you that came easy. But maybe he didn't understand what those parts cost. So one night, after Murphy had gone to bed, yes, he has a bed, I opened my laptop and replied. You have one chance. One message. No games. Tell the truth. I sent it and closed the lid. Didn't check again for 2 days. When I finally did, his message was waiting. I used to think people like you were just lucky. That you got handed the kind of life I had to crawl for. But the truth is, you weren't lucky. You were just honest. With yourself. With everyone. I was always pretending. I don't know who I am without someone else to copy. I think I tried to be you because I thought being me wasn't enough. You don't have to forgive me. I wouldn't. But I wanted you to know, I see it now. I wasn't better than you. I wasn't even you. I was just empty. That was it. No sign-off. No plea for closure. Just a man finally hearing the echo of his own voice. I didn't write back. What was there to say? He was right. I didn't forgive him. But I didn't hate him anymore either. Because I'd outlived him, not in years, but in peace. And that was enough. There's no big finish to this story. No dramatic curtain drop. No last-minute twist. Just a man sitting on a porch one summer night, old dog at his feet, breeze moving through the trees. Thinking back. Not with anger. Not with regret. Just clarity. He was never a friend. He was a mirror. And eventually, I stopped looking. Her name was Elena. We met at a community workshop, one of those introvert things where people sit in circles and talk about something like resilience through storytelling. I didn't want to go. A friend dragged me. Said, "You've got stories worth telling, man. Stop acting like life ended at 35. I showed up late, sat in the back, kept my coat on. She was across the room, olive jacket, chipped nail polish, hair tied up with a pencil. Didn't say much. Didn't have to. Some people speak just by being quiet. We talked afterward. Nothing flirty. Just easy. She said something about how everyone was trying to be profound, and she just wanted to tell the truth. I laughed. Yeah, I know a guy who tried being profound for a living. Didn't end well. She tilted her head. Smirked. Let me guess, thought he was Hemingway but turned out to be a BuzzFeed article. That made me laugh harder than I had in months. We walked to the parking lot together. I asked if she came to these things often. She shrugged. Only when I forget why I stopped. It wasn't love at first sight. It wasn't even interest at first sight. It was comfort. And after everything I'd lived through, the theft, the betrayal, the silence, comfort felt like luxury. We started meeting for coffee. Then walks. Then late-night phone calls that started with, "I won't keep you long," and ended 3 hours later. She never asked too much. Never tried to fix anything. Just listened. And let me talk like it was safe to do so. That's rare. Rarer than people think. One night, we sat on a bench overlooking the city. She asked me what I was afraid of. I didn't answer right away. Then I said, "Being replaced." She didn't laugh. Didn't press. Just said, "You know, people like that don't replace you. They just leave impressions. Like wet footprints on tile. Eventually they dry up." I turned to her. "You been through something like that?" She nodded. "Yeah. Not a friend. But someone close. Wore my words like they were hers. Made me feel like I was the copy." I reached for her hand without thinking. She didn't pull away. We never talked about us in big terms. No declarations. No fireworks. Just steady. One dinner at a time. One walk. One call that turned into two. She met Murphy. He liked her immediately, which, in his grumpy old dog way, meant he curled up at her feet and snored. I told her about Matt. Not all at once. Not like a confession. Just pieces, over time. She didn't judge. Didn't pity. She just said, "He took something from you. Doesn't mean you have to keep carrying it." That landed. Because I had been carrying it. Even long after he was gone. One night, we danced in the kitchen to an old Tom Waits song. She laughed when I stepped on her foot. "You're terrible at this." "Yeah, but I'm honest about it." She smiled. "That's why I'm still here. I used to think life was about holding on. To people. To titles. To what you think you're owed. Now I think it's about knowing when to let go. Let go of the need to be seen. Let go of the echo someone else left in your name. Let go of the version of yourself you thought was permanent. I'm in my 40s now. Work is steady. Simple. I do my hours, I go home. No climbing ladders. No shaking hands with people who don't mean it. Elena's still here. She leaves notes in my jacket pockets. Sometimes they're jokes. Sometimes they're reminders. Once it was just a heart drawn in pen, shaky and small. I kept that one in my wallet. Murphy's slowing down. Needs help with the stairs. I carry him sometimes, pretend it's for him, but it's for me too. He's been here through all of it, the collapse, the rebuild, the return. Some nights I sit outside, coffee in one hand, and he lays his chin on my foot like he used to. We stay like that until the sky goes soft. No rush. No noise. Just now. I still think about Matt once in a while. Not with anger. Not even curiosity. Just memory. Like a scar on your knuckle. Faded. Harmless. But still there. He was a thief, yes. But more than that, he was a mirror I stared into for too long, looking for approval. And when he finally walked away with pieces of me, I thought I was broken. Turns out, I was just unfinished. I used to tell myself a story. That I was the victim. That Matt stole my life. But that's not the story anymore. The truth is simpler. He tried to take it. And I built a new one anyway. There's strength in surviving betrayal. But there's more in refusing to become what broke you. So I didn't. I didn't become bitter. Or cold. Or suspicious of every new hand offered. I just got better at listening. To instincts. To silence. To the difference between those who want to walk beside you, and those who want to wear your skin. This is the life I built. Not flashy. Not loud. But mine. Every part of it. And when I wake up now, there's no dread. No shadow hanging over my name. No stolen words on someone else's tongue. Just me. Still here. Still whole.